Well, good morning, Chamber friends. It is Monday, December 21st. We are excited. It's Christmas week, it's holiday week, it's celebration week, even amongst a pandemic, but we're excited to have our Member of the Week program continuing and have a great member with us today. And just a really quick reminder, thank you to our Member of the Week sponsors, MMA Insurance and Siebert Reynolds CPAs. With us today, we have Doug Zeyer with Zeyer Lumber, and we're excited to learn about everything that Doug has to offer because as we were discussing, it's not 2x4s. So you think about a lumber company and that's what you think of, but he is much more than that and honestly provides a lot more of a specialty, which is pretty awesome. So Doug, I'm going to turn it over to you. I would like for you to share with us who you are, tell us about Zeyer Lumber and what all that you guys offer.
Well, thanks for having me on. I'll tell you a little bit about it. I've been in business 20 years, and the way I got into it's a little curious in that I'm actually a software developer, and I was working on the Y2K stuff out of town when I found out that my mother had sold this patch of timber on the farm where I grew up. And so I went to check out what was going on. And I got a phone call. I don't know if we start over again or not, but assuming we're not, let's keep going. And so anyway, I found out that someone had approached her to buy some timber, and they had made a royal mess of the situation. And when my brother and I first saw it, our first word simultaneously is, "What a moron, we could do better than this." And so this was in the fall of '99. And so, as I also like to say, this person spent the next 6 months doing half of a 2-week job and drinking lots and lots of bush natural light in the process. And so in the spring of 2000 now, he had finally gotten a few trees cut and pulled up into the cornfields and cut off the crowns of the big oak trees. And he sold the log, the tree length log of the oak tree, and left trash everywhere. And after he got paid for the two semi-loads of oak logs, he disappeared, not paying back his now ex-best friend who had loaned him the money to get into the timbering business. And so after Y2K in the summer of 2000, there wasn't much computing work to be doing because people had spent all their money the year before. And so I had PTO time to take. So I went back and started cleaning up the fields. And at first it was selling firewood. It's nice oak firewood. And that was in demand. But as I got further and further along, I said, this looks like a log to me. I don't know. And so I began educating myself and talking to the local sawmills and found out that sure enough, those are logs. And so I started selling the logs. And after I got the trees cleaned up, they said, do you have any more? Well, as it turned out, the person who didn't know what he was doing, logging, had also cut off lots of trees. And so they were cut off, but still standing and hadn't fallen down. So I began harvesting those and selling them. And at some point, one of the fellows that was buying the most from me, he went bankrupt. So I had a bunch of logs. And so I said, how hard can it be to run a sawmill? So we bought a little sawmill and started cutting it up. And then I got hooked up with a home builder in Zanesville who wanted the oak lumber, and he wanted to make molding. So that led to converting a old farm building into a kiln. And it just sort of kept growing from there. That's how I got started. What do I produce? It's hardwood lumber. So again, as you said, not the 2x4s, but furniture building, pallet walls, pallet boards. If you see Home Sweet Home written on a hanging on the wall, a lot of chances that might have come from me originally. Then someone who's skillful with woodworking has written something on it or painted something on it. Also some industrial things, the big heavy beams to move heavy machinery. And just a lot of different things come out of a hardwood log. And I'm struggling as what you asked for next, or maybe help me out.
No, that's fine. This is great. I did not know your story, and I know you've talked to Michelle a lot in the office, but I did not know your story. And so that's just awesome how that came about and how you've kind of shifted your career over the years, obviously, to go from software to lumber. Just a very different very totally different dynamic for sure. One end of the spectrum
That's
to
great.
the other.
Right.
So I guess, the next question that we've been asking our members is, how has the pandemic impacted your business, especially from kind of beginning to where you are today? And I don't know if it, had a huge impact in the beginning and then things started to pick back up because, like we talked about, a lot of people are doing home improvements and the things like that. So how has that been for you?
Well, I think the first thing that I noticed from it is that when it first got started, I work with a lot of smaller woodworkers who build one table and then ship that off or have someone come and pick it up. And so people just weren't coming to pick up finished product. And so since the customer who had already paid for it probably wouldn't come and pick up their new table, then the small part-time woodworker couldn't build the next thing. And so there was a definite slowdown in the better furniture grade hardwood for a few months until that got kind of cleared up. And during that same time, though, again, people were off. People had money because they weren't going on vacation or whatever the reason. And so the crafting went crazy. And so that's the pallet boards and then the fake pallet boards, which are the kiln dried resawn lumber that looks like pallet boards, but you don't have to worry about any bugs or drying time and that sort of thing. So redoing things, walls with thin wood on it has been a big thing during the pandemic. The biggest issue, I guess, negative thing is just sort of I maybe alluded to it, but the supply interruptions of like a bigger demand for this and a smaller demand for that. And so normally a log produces multiple different products. And so it's kind of in balance and it's been great for several years now. But now there was an extra big demand for X and an oversupply of Y, and what are you doing with that? So that's been the one challenge with it, which is getting better. Although I think the transportation costs are starting to creep up. So that's the one negative I'm seeing out of it so far.
Well, that's actually really, thank you for sharing. It's interesting to watch. I've talked to, especially even like Ace Handyman Services and Capital Fence and different members that have shared similar, kind of path of things were, slowed down and then things picked back up and everybody's using that money now to do home projects or, get into crafting and different things like that. So it's good to hear that that's been a positive on some, on most of the side for you. And then a few of the negatives that we know are going to happen over time. And I can imagine that transportation, obviously the higher the need, the more cost there
right.
ends up being. So that's always a challenge to kind of manage that. Where are you located? Where are you located?
Well, my warehouse is in Baltimore, Ohio, a mere stone's throw down the road of about 7.2 miles from Pickerington, and right in the town. And it's a great location for me. It's a nice flat area. I own part of the original Ohio Erie Canal, as it turns out. So that's been kind of an interesting history part of the experience.
Awesome. I did not know that as well. So that's very, very cool. And then usually the last thing we always ask everybody is what do you think makes the Pickerington, Columbus, Fairfield County region such a great place to do business?
Well, it's a beautiful area. And so I like that part of it. And growing up out in the country, it's the best of both worlds in that if I pull out my driveway and turn left, I'm in downtown Pickerington. And if I turn right, I'm in a cornfield headed towards my lumber warehouse. And so that's wonderful for me. About 13 years ago, I moved to Fairfield County. And part of the attraction was that I looked at where are the sales taxes the lowest. And that's Fairfield County in the whole state, as it turns out. And so I really kind of honed in on Fairfield County and then found the place. It was a very nice place to live. And I've just been doing business here since.
Wonderful. Is there anything else we should know about your company and all that you do? That's always the hardball question. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the hard one. I guess if based upon over the years of the amount of calls I've gotten for shingles and roofing nails and and aluminum siding and plastic siding and stuff is that I'm not a lumber yard. I'm not Lowe's, and I'm not trying to be, but I probably have more hardwood lumber than a Lowe's or a Home Depot would have. So different kind of a thing for a different purpose.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's very important to share with people. So I'm glad that you shared that. And once again, just want to say, you know, congratulations and thank you for being a member with us. You've been a member with us for probably 3 or 4 years now, and just a great opportunity to connect with you and share a little of your story with our members and share being the member of the week and all of those fun things. So we just want to say thank you, and, you know, certainly wish you a very, very happy holiday season, and hope that the hardwood lumber industry continues to grow and keeps you active and busy for many, many years to come.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And same to you.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, once again, member of the week, Zeyer Lumber. Check them out. He's got a location in Baltimore, and crafting needs, you know, all those home projects. Check them out. Give Doug a call. And certainly congratulations again for being our member of the week. And we certainly wish you all a very wonderful holiday week ahead. And everybody stay safe, stay warm, stay healthy, and we'll see you all again very soon.
Thank you. Goodbye.